set that for live chat. Let's see what happens here. Now I might stick around on here for a few minutes. If you guys watched, I just put up a video with the big middle finger to YouTube because they can't get notifications out. Has nothing to do with my channel settings. Pretty sure it's nothing to do with you guys' settings. Here we are 30 seconds into it and there's still nobody here. So who's the first person here? Probably somebody that was on my Instagram live feed. And the only reason they know this is happening is because I told them on Instagram. What am I hearing? So the problem I was having earlier is no notification, but I was looking at, see? No notification. Jeremy, do me a favor. Go down and find my channel, and next to subscribe should be a bell. Click on it and see how you have it set on my YouTube channel. Is it set for all notifications? Because you're the only one on here. It's been a minute and a half, and I told everybody on the... Yeah, so it says all notifications, right? My channel's not sending out notifications. Here's the other thing. I'm not the only one because I have channels that I subscribe to. I'm not getting notified when they do live feeds. Well, I mean, I figured it was, but see, it's just me and you, Jeremy. Just me and you. No one's getting notifications. You just happen to stumble upon my live feed. This is ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. And it's not my internet because I thought, okay, well, maybe before they say anything, check your internet settings. I rebooted my router. I checked my speed. Everything's great. And see, it's not telling me. There's Simon. Simon, did you get a notification about this or did you catch me on my live feed? And I already sent an email to YouTube. And I'm like, dude, you guys, is it just that you don't get, I seriously, this is the way it said. It said this is 3 days in a row that people are not getting my notifications of a live feed. See, no notification. Just people are stumbling across it. People are just stumbling across my live feeds now. And I sent them, I was like, you know, it's bullshit. I do this every day. And yesterday, it took 3 times before anybody got a notification. And I was like, what is it? Did you just don't give a fuck about small channels like mine? I mean, yeah, granted, I'm only 3,000 subscribers, but I guarantee that you make more on AdWords. What I fucking told him. I'm paraphrasing. I was like, I guarantee you make a lot more money on ad revenue on my channel than I do. So is it that you just don't give a crap about the smaller channels? And that was the end of my email. And I got a thing back saying that they would be in contact. But see, there's only 2 people on here now. So I don't want this to turn into a rant about YouTube. But it's going to turn into a rant about YouTube. But there may be a video about this. Matthew has got a serious problem with some nuisance animals around his backyard and pool area that you saw me on Instagram cleaning his pool. We are going to take care of some of those said animals. As you guys know, I was a marksmanship instructor. No, not trash pandas. I wouldn't shoot a raccoon unless they're damaging something. Like pandas, I mean, trash pandas get into stuff. But if you're careful about what you're doing with your trash can, I've never had raccoons get in my trash. I'm careful about how I do it, and I, you know, where I keep my trash can and keep it inaccessible. That's the big thing. No, he has birds and some other creatures that are around the pool area that we are going to take care of. So I don't think this is gonna be a long live feed. Yeah, Instagram. Yakov just told me, did you start it? I don't see it. So let me see if I can pull up that notification on my, nope. I'm not big on shooting cats. Cats are more of a I actually like the idea of having cats running around because they keep your rodent population down. I wouldn't shoot a cat, not here in the city. Out in the country, I had a policy about cats. If you see a cat outside of the barn hunting, and you catch them hunting like rabbits, let's say, and feral cats can be a big problem on a farm, and that's why you keep when your barn cats start getting outside of parameters that you want them in, where they're hunting, when you see them getting rabbits and shit like that, you kill them. I will shoot a cat. Matter of fact, yeah. See, they put an ad on my live feed. Jesus. So anyway, I went home. The first time my wife ever went home with me, I was up at my grandparents' farm, and my grandfather hadn't passed yet, I don't believe. He may have. It might have been when we went home for my grandfather's funeral. As a matter of fact, I believe it was. No, it wasn't. It was the time that my wife got to meet my grandfather. And so we were up on the farm, and he and I were up there, and we see a cat down where we know there was a den of rabbits and some of her little baby rabbits, and it was hunting. And I just grabbed the rifle, and it was the first time my wife ever got to see me shoot. And yeah, I know, it's just not, the notifications just aren't going out. And so I open up the window, and at about 100 yards with an old beat up fucking 1940s fucking bolt action 22 rifle with sights that my grandfather had welded back on, I shot a fucking cat and just laid him down. And she was like, "What?" And I was like, "You do know that." Yeah, I was like, you do know, honey, that I teach people how to shoot. That's one of my job. I'm an instructor. I was a weapons instructor, mainly machine gun and machine gunnery. I taught the crew serve weapons stuff, but I also worked at a range for. Well, I worked at a range for 2 years after I retired, and had already been working ranges. I ran ranges on the ship. I ran ranges at, indoor ranges, outdoor ranges, ranges in Japan, ranges in the States. I worked at ranges and shot and fired. I was also, I went to, I forget what they call it now. It used to be Spec War. It used to be armorer, just general armorer school, where basically it was like a lot like gunsmith school. So I went to armorer school they call it Spec War Armorer School now. You got to be attached to Special Forces to go to that school now. It's just, the reason why was because you don't need an armorer at every command. It got to the point where Crane was able to send weapons and get weapons shipped after things started to modernize, and it was easier to get stuff shipped. You could request weapons and have them within a matter of days, maybe a couple weeks, as opposed to months and months and months and months and months of waiting. So I saw that big change happen. So they got rid of armorers on just at your regular commands, and they're like, okay, the guys that really need somebody that's like the equivalent to a gunsmith, that guy needs to be at the Spec War commands, where they need that gun up and ready right now. You got notification. I don't know. Maybe you have to be up for a period of time. That's not the way it's supposed to work there, I Heart Knives. But have you guys ever wondered, like when I do these live feeds, that you see this, you ever wondered, like, is that motherfucker wearing pants? I wonder if the motherfucker's wearing, did he put on pants? Like, he'll tell you that his favorite thing about modern world is that I can go shopping without putting on pants. What's up, David? So I'm gonna look at your knives with, we're gonna try that thing. I assume you aren't. No, I'm wearing pants. It's chilly. I'm out here in the kitchen. It's chilly in the morning. You gotta wear pants. So we're gonna try and do that. Just a quick wipe. But I want to find. I want to find a small spray bottle. I'm gonna make some. Strange bunch of dudes. What I'm thinking is, I'm not spray bottle. I want to get a container, and I'm going to fill it with baking soda, because I want to stop that reaction, baking soda and water. Because Winks, the actual acid-based rust remover that we have at the shop. It's really strong. Like you can edge titanium with it, and like it's like a constant kind of a concentrated sulfuric acid. Smells really bad, but I don't want to get any damage to other parts of blades. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dip it in the winks, and then I'm gonna wipe it off and see if it needs to go back in. No, the nitric acid is the one that will etch glass. And then there's another one, trifluoro something, that will actually oxidize glass to the point where it will burn things that shouldn't burn, like glass, metal, things that have already been burned. But usually use nitric acid to etch glass. It's a really strong oxidizer and acid. Or you can use a combination of the two if you're trying to dissolve specific things like gold and things like that, which usually what you do is you use nitric acid. You make what's called aqua regia, which is hydrochloric acid, which forms the oxide. And no, the nitric acid forms the oxide, and then the hydrochloric acid or muriatic acid, or however you want to do it, in the aqua regia will actually dissolve the. So you have to oxidize the gold first, which is really hard to do, and that's why you really need a really strong oxidizer like nitric acid. And then the other element in the aqua regia, which is the hydrochloric acid, the chlorine, the chloride in it, that chloride element is, the chlorine is what will dissolve the gold oxide layer, and then it just turns into a rolling reaction where you're just dissolving, you're turning gold, the outer layer of gold, into gold oxide, and then hydrochloric acid is then dissolving that oxide into the solution, and that's how you can purify. That's how you can purify weaker gold. So like if you have something that's like, if you have something that's like 18, I think it's 18 karat or above, you can actually dissolve out the gold and leave behind the silver and other impurities, and then reconstitute through another chemical reaction the gold. I love chemistry. I don't know if you guys have noticed. And that's how you can, it's a chemical way of purifying gold. And then after that, anything that's left over, are you gonna do a Gavco video? I probably will. I like Mike's knives. I need to talk to you about some of the sharpening that's going on. What's up, Dustin? How you like that? How you like that Smatch It? This is the right Dustin, right? Dustin 101, if I remember correctly, which I probably do because. Wet plate photography. So is he using the silver? Is it silver nitrate, or is he do the what's it called? The Prussian blue style staining, like you etch and then stain photography like that, wet plate photography. Or are you talking just plain old school film photography, where you have the developer, the rinse, and then the fucking, he does everything. Here's the thing, everything I know about chemistry is stuff that I've taught myself and learned about and studied in, just because I get curious about something and I want to find out about it, and I learn as much as I want to learn about a subject, and then I'm good. I don't ever plan on actually refining gold or dissolving gold with a cyanide solution or anything like that, but I find it interesting and I learn about stuff. I just love learning stuff, and I'll reach a point where I'm not curious about any more of that. But one of the ones that really spiked my interest not long ago was endothermic reactions, and it popped in my head because I had bought a 30-pack of beer, and I filled the bread pan, the glass bread pan, with salt and water. And I was like, well, how does it, because I saw frost forming on the side of the container, and then I took my meat thermometer and stuck it in there. I was like, well, that's way colder than 32. That's well below 32. And I was like, well, how? I was like, there has to be some sort of chemical reaction going on here. And what happens is you add the salt, and because sodium chloride, and then it mixes with water, and what happens is there's a reaction with the water and the salt, and it peels off a chlorine ion. Well, that peeling off a chlorine ion is an endothermic reaction, which means it's absorbing heat, which makes it cold. Anything that's absorbing heat is cold to a point. And I was like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. And then I was like, oh, that makes perfect sense. Because if you look at the stuff that you buy, that's in a big bag, it's calcium chloride. Calcium chloride has a lot more chlorine by volume, a lot more of the chloride part of that than sodium chloride does. Sodium chloride has, I think, 1, and I think calcium chloride has 2 or 3 chlorine ions associated with it. So when you would look at it, you would see more of the chlorine than you would in sodium chloride. And I was like, oh, that's why it works so much better. Yeah, see? So it's 2, and I think sodium chloride is 1. Dispose. It's the easiest way to dispose winks. Ionized pocket clip, and you shouldn't flush it down the toilet. Just okay. You really want to know what you want to? Yeah. See, it's 1. Yeah, and calcium chloride is 2. So there's double the amount of endothermic reaction capacity there. So it melts. It's not technically melting the ice. What it does is it's really lowered the freezing temperature significantly, and so it's all a chemical reaction. It's not technically melting the ice if you look at it. It's just absorbing energy from the ice, making it turn into a liquid. So anyway, somebody was saying winks. Okay, the best way to dispose of winks, if you have a tub of it, get a box of baking soda, and you just pour baking soda in it, and all you have left after that is water, carbon dioxide, a little bit of sulfur. And the carbon dioxide is going to evaporate. It's going to bubble up. Just like when you add vinegar to baking soda, it's neutralizing the acid. That chemical reaction, you have a base, you have an acid. So if you get vinegar on your hands, you know how it feels a little sticky? It makes your hands feel like they're sticking. That's an acid. A base actually starts to react just like lye would with the fats in your skin. Even baking soda. You ever notice baking soda is slippery? It's a base. And so when you feel that difference, acids are sticky. Bases are slippery. They're not technically slippery. What they're doing is they're turning the fucking oils in your hand into soap. Bases are bitter. Acids are sour. It's just... What was that? I hurt, not sweat. Okay, perfect. Just add a base to acid to neutralize it. Yep, bingo. Ammonia is a base. And you can basically, if you've got a bottle of ammonia is not as good for the environment. You're going to have to do it outside with some vapor because you will get ammonia gas. But here's the thing. It's not, I find it interesting, but I don't think anybody would really be interested in me talking about chemistry. The best thing I ever heard, you ready for this? It's not chemistry, but it was my grandfather. It's my grandfather. I was 14 or 15. Chemistry is a rabbit hole. There's times I just don't sleep. Depends on how Appalachian. I can show you how to make hydrogen from hydrochloric acid and aluminum. It's a vigorous reaction that generates a lot of hydrogen gas, water. It's basically stripping off the aluminum reaction, strips off the hydrogen atom, and then it reconstitutes and make pressure bombs with that. You can do it with the Works drain cleaner. The Works drain cleaner is the one that's made with hydrochloric acid. Sulfuric acid will also kind of do it, but it's different. It gets you a different reaction, and it's not as vigorous. The hydrochloric acid ones, which are harder to come by, a toilet bowl cleaner. It wasn't drain cleaner, it was toilet bowl cleaner. Hydrochloric acid toilet bowl cleaner. Take the scale off. The Works, I don't know if they make that stuff anymore. My mom used to get it because we had really hard water, and she could just spray it on the shower once we had running water. She'd spray it on the shower, and it would eat away that orangish iron oxide layer that was formed because we had a lot of rust in our water. So, I forget what I was gonna say. I had something I was going to say and then I lost it. No, Winks is sulfuric. The Winks is a sulfuric acid based. And you can tell when you smell, it smells like eggs. That's the sulfur in it. Like when you put, I know you're not supposed to. They tell you not to put your fucking hands in it. I've had my hands in Winks for hours. I mean, eventually, yeah, your fingers will be sore the next day, but I mean, fuck it. You got work to do. And so when you smell that sulfur smell, that's the, when it's reacting, you can smell the, it's the sulfur that's being released in solution. I made, Ashton will get a kick out of this. I made a batch of that weed juice that I make. And I think I got it strong enough that I actually either crystallized the sugars that were natural in the weed that I put in it, or I had gotten so much THC in it while I was doing the, so I decarbed most of the stuff that I put in, but there was some of it wasn't. So I put it in a pan to boil off. It was just 95% alcohol, Everclear. And I put it in and I let it soak because I wanted to get everything out of it. And then when I heated it on the stove in the jar to boil off a little bit of the alcohol and make sure everything else was decarbed, I started seeing crystals fall out of solution. And I was so, it was either, because I know sugar is not soluble in alcohol. THC is. But there's a possibility that I had so much THC in that, because there was a lot of stuff in it, that I got it to a point where the THC fell out of solution and it's in crystal. I'll get it. Hang on. I'll show you. So this batch I just started. And so it's just got my AVB. This is, that's all crystallized stuff that started forming in this batch. Is that THC crystals or is that just sugar that I've pulled out, the natural sugars that were in the plant that I pulled out? Because I had about really, maybe I should dump this in another jar and peel that shit out, because it's all been converted from THCA to THC, because it's been, everything that went in that was either AVB or decarbed in the oven for 100 minutes at 220 degrees Celsius in a sealed container, and then let it sit and then pull it back out and dumped it in after I ground it and let it soak. So this batch is just, I haven't been using my vape very much, so there's not a lot in there. I've been using my new bong. So this doesn't have a lot in it. This is a much weaker, you can tell just by looking at the color, how much darker this one is. And so this one is just soaking. And I had some fucking weed I can't smoke anymore. It makes me paranoid. I try different strains and I find ones that I really like NF1. And then, so I find ones that I like NF1 and Cushadelic and things like that. That I like. I don't like get like ridiculous high. I don't like being out of sorts. I don't like being out of my, you know, where I'm not. It comes from being in the military. That's why I don't like narcos either. I don't like narcotics either, because they make me feel out of control. They make me feel like I'm not in complete control. And like when I get really, really high, I don't like that so much. So I like the strains that don't get me as stupid high. And so I like the ones that have a lot more CBD, CBN, and I like the euphoric, I can feel good and stuff like that. But then the other one is I get paranoid. I can't, sour diesel, paranoid, fucking losing it. And I'm uncomfortable. It just, even a little bit. And I'm like, I don't like it. Every noise trips me off. I'm walking around with the gun in the back of my pants. I don't like that. There was another one that I've got. Later, David. There was another one that I got that did that. And so with those ones, I grind those up and I put them in the juice, because I don't seem to get that effect. Even when it's really high THC, I don't get that effect from this. Yes, Purple Haze, I cannot smoke it. I can't. But the Cushadelic is really mellow. Gorilla Glue, that Gorilla Glue 13 strain, that homegrown stuff that guy sent me, perfect. The NF1, really strong, gets me really high, but I don't feel that out of control, out of sorts feeling. It's like, okay, I'll equate it to the difference between, so I'll let you guys know, before I joined the Navy, I did a lot of stuff. So I equate the difference between that NF1 strain that we bought an ounce from my neighbor, because he works at a grow fucking place. That NF1, I get really high, but I can pull it back and be like, okay, no, I gotta be able to focus, because it's got some sativa to it, but there's enough indica in it that it mellows me out. I equate those strains to the difference between LSD and shrooms. You can take shrooms and just be fucking tripping your balls off, but you can pull that back and fucking, okay, I got to do this and straighten yourself out. You can't do that with acid. I can't do that with this. I can't do that with the diesels, the sour diesels, some of the really, really, really strong sativa strains. I can't do that. I can't do that. I'm just paranoid. I'm fucking shot. I'm just like fucking way out of my gourd high with any amount of it. And I can't do it. I'm like, oh, I need a hybrid that is just about even 50-50 on the sativa strain. Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you, 10 cc's of this in a syringe. Take a lemon lime Gatorade, open it up, take a drink, put that 10 cc's of that in there, and then drink it. It's fucking delicious. And then 15 minutes later, you start feeling the effects. And that's the thing, because it's not bound. It's already been decarbed, and it's not bound to a fatty acid that has to be broken down by the stomach. It doesn't have to be broken down. You can absorb it because it's not bound to a fat. It's bound to the alcohol, or not even bound to anything, really. It's just in the alcohol in solution. So as it gets sucked through the stomach lining, you can feel that shit like within minutes, like within moments of consuming that. If you drink it, if you do, it's really, really strong though. If you squirt it just in your mouth, holy shit. You're like the second it hits your stomach, you're like, oh wow, I feel that. I can feel it in my hair. So I don't like that instant onset. So what I'll do is I'll mix it with something. I'll mix it with something like Gatorade, apple juice. It's really good in apple juice. I have a cup over here that basically I mix my evening drink when my body hurts and everything, because I don't actually get super, super high from edibles. Like I can take 40 milligrams of edibles and then just not even feel it, except the fact that my body stops hurting and then I get a little sleepy. But I don't get high from actual edibles. I will get high from this ish. So I was reading into it, and so this went from a knife video into me and Ashton talking about weed. There's enzymes in your body that for edibles you have to have that specific enzyme to get that high feeling. You'll get the effects like the pain reduction and things like that, but you really won't get high. And I think I'm one of those people that I just got some weird body and brain chemistry going on, because I mean, guys, I don't know if you guys remember back in the day when I was still doing insurance and we had the house fumigated here a couple years ago, year and a half, almost 2 years ago. I was doing live feeds from the hotel in the afternoon, and I would just, because the liquor store was literally from here to my neighbor's house from my hotel. And I would just go over and get a bottle of rye whiskey, and I would do an hour-long live feed. I'd drink a half a bottle of whiskey and then go out to dinner with my wife and kid. And people were like, what the fuck? St. Patrick's Day, I went to my friend's house and I drank an entire bottle of Jameson's, and I was fine, I still remember it, and then came back here and I was drunk by the time I made it back home because I had 2 beers here. Beers will do it. Beers will get me drunk quicker than whiskey. And I was fine because I've got some weird brain chemistry going on. My whole family does. My dad could drink. I can drink with liquor. I can drink damn near anyone under the table. I've drank Russians under the table. My fucking friend Dennis, I drank him under the table. Like we finished, he was pouring my whiskey for me while we were sitting there talking, and I'm still drinking. He goes, "You're not drunk, huh?" I was like, "Nope, not a bit." Not, I mean, I couldn't have drove, but I definitely was not drunk. And so Dennis was sitting there. He's like, I'm drunk. So Indians and Filipinos. Yeah, my wife can't drink really. My father-in-law can. So yeah, my wife's Japanese, so it's she doesn't drink. She used to be able to. She can't now. It's just because she doesn't drink. I don't think she's had a beer. I don't think she's had beer in 6 months. Every once in a while, she'll be like, "Oh, I want a cold beer," and then she'll get a beer out of the refrigerator. She'll open it up. She'll pour it in a glass. She'll have 2 sips of it, and he's like, "Here, you finish this." I'm like, "Fuck. Well, it's warm now." So, and guys, I enjoy these morning live feeds. It gets me a way to get started in the morning while I'm drinking coffee, because she loves beer. Most Russians love vodka. Actually, I don't know if you saw it. I started following you on Instagram. So, but I am going to get off here, guys, because 2 things. I need to get all my stuff packed up. I'm taking to the shop because I want to make sure I don't forget anything this time. Last time I forgot my tools. No, that's Ashton's knife. There's this. Guys, this is an honest thing right now. I did a video that I'm actually going to take down. And it has nothing to do with the quality of this tool. I did a video about this when I got it. And told the guy that I did the video, and he was like, "Man, thanks, that's cool." And so I did this Greg Berger. I don't particularly like his business attitude and the way he treats people and things like that, and the fact that these were $100, and I bought it to support a guy that was just starting out. And the fact is, it's a screwdriver, and I feel bad that I went ahead and did that video, because now you can't touch one of these things for less than like $250. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. He's making more of them, and he's making them at a higher price, and he's doing one of those things like I don't know. He just plays. I hate to say it, but as much as I like this and stuff like that, Greg Berger, it's just a screwdriver, and he's gone the route of rad knives, where everything he makes is just like, I guess I'm doing it wrong, guys. I don't know. Maybe I should just bitch about everything I do, about how difficult it is, how much I hate it, and all that stuff, because that's what fucking Rad Knives does. He bemoans his choice in making knives, and I'm like, then fucking stop. If you enjoy what you're doing, you should not be complaining about everything. Like it's like they've started this thing where everybody wants to support them because it's so difficult for them. But I got news for you. Rad Knives should not be complaining about the situation he's in, because that motherfucker sells knives for $16,000, $18,000, $20,000 a pop. Like, he could make 3 knives a year and not have to do another fucking thing. That's 80 grand or 60 grand a year. You know? Back home in Ohio, if I had the shop like that and I was making knives and they were selling for 20 grand a year, I could make 2 knives a year and fucking just spend the rest of my time. Shouldn't say anything, because that's about where I'm at right now with me making knives. It's been rough. I just don't have any belts. Not to bemoan my situation, making knives is a hobby, and everybody knew when I started and made that list of Hornets that's hanging on the wall where it says "Don't get behind," and I went ahead and got behind. Everybody kind of knew ahead of time that it was a hobby. So I'm actually 4 months behind on all those knives, but I only have 2 more to make, so, of the Hornets, and that's probably going to be the last of the production, or of the, it's probably going to be the last of the, what am I trying to say here? Until I get a good influx of money, that's probably going to be the last of any knives that I make. Once I'm out of all these blanks that I have have a few of my little neckers left. I'm probably not going to make very many more knives. I'm not going to get myself in a situation where I'm just making knives, because weekends now, I get enough. The problem is weekends is when I make knives, but the problem is I get enough stuff in for refinishing and stuff to do on weekends. I can't even start making a knife. And the hobby has to go second to the actual sharpening and refinishing, which is the business. So, you know, if I have to refund those guys the $200 I think they paid per knife as a deposit, so be it. It's like $400. I'll just do it if they get that upset. But I'd still want to do them. And then I think I had people drop out that said, "Look, I can't do it. Things have changed." I was like, "Okay, well, we'll look at the end, and I'm going to recontact them. But if those don't, I'm just going to do a few, just one off, my way, the way I want them to look, and do some cool stuff, and then see where we go from there." You know, so. Guys, I think I am gonna get off of here though. I know there's 13 of y'all still here. I need to shoot the video about this because I'm taking this back at the shop with me, and I have 2 packages to get packed up. So I'm probably gonna leave the house here around 11:30, 12:30, and head up to the shop. So hopefully Nico's gonna make it down this week. Matt's gonna be there for a couple hours. I don't foresee if there's gonna be a bunch of people at the forge like it was when week before last when Ashton was there. I I had to go in. I had gotten a spinal tap because they were trying to figure out why my head hurt for so long. So I just wasn't in any shape to go to the forge that night. So, guys, this is fun. I'm glad at least some of you managed to make it in on this. Like I said, I sent an email to YouTube to try and figure out what's going on. But yeah, I'm gonna close this out and get it uploaded and shoot the video about this. I'll probably do it right here. All right, Ashton, you guys take it easy. I'm gonna cut this off. Take it easy.